guys, NCWQ here, and I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving here in the USA, and I hope this last weekend was great for everybody else who doesn't live in the USA. Anyways, decided to just go over the earthquakes that have happened today on EMSC, and I have them on Google, so we're just going to go through and look at where these earthquakes have occurred. We can see we have a 3.1 in Panama. And this one occurred here. This is the Costa Rican border region. It's magnitude 3.1 at a 20-kilometer depth. Our next one was in the Bataan Islands region, Philippines. You can tell this one was offshore from Enraya. This is an island that is over here. This one was 31 kilometers deep. And I think there's a trench here, so we'll look at that in a little bit. Our next one, we're going to close this out. Not meaning to have that open. Our next one is near the coast of northern Peru, and it was a 3.978 kilometers deep. And that one was appearing at Tortuga, the city of Tortuga here, or the town of Tortuga. Yeah, I believe it's a city. So we can see that this one occurred here. The next one is a 2.0. This one occurred in central Italy. But this is not central Italy. This looks like the Adriatic Sea here. It's 2.0, 10 kilometers, which means that they don't have a direct idea of the depth. So that one looks like it's offshore here. We have a 3.4 Philippine Island region. This one is sitting on the it's not going to show for me. See if I can do this again. Convergent line. This is the 3.4, and it was 33 kilometers depth. Looks like there may be some underwater ridges here in seamounts. The next one is a 2.0. The island of Hawaii. Near Pahala. You can see where this one is located here. This one is located here. Sorry. It was a depth of 33 kilometers deep. And it is on the Mamalahoa Highway. Our next earthquake was a 4.9. South Sandwich Islands region, and it was 10 kilometers deep. And that's the Bristol Islands there. Formed by volcano. You can see the Bristol Islands is a stratovolcano. If you want to read more about it, you can download the information on it. But this area here, you can see that there are underwater seamounts here, or volcanoes. Our next earthquake was a 3.1. And this is also the Philippine Island region. And it was 3 kilometers deep. And this one is off the outside of the ridge here. But you can see also, here I show you that there are underwater seamounts here and volcanoes. Our next earthquake is a 2.6, I believe. And it was 40 kilometers deep, and it's the island of Hawaii, Hawaii again. This one was offshore here. Our next earthquake is a 3.0. And this one is the Sunda Strait in Indonesia. You can see Krakatau volcano is over here. Our next earthquake is a 4.1 off the coast of Ecuador. And this is on the convergent line. And this one was 5 kilometers in depth. And it was off of Salinas and Montanita. We followed that along with a 3.2. Panama, Costa Rica border region. And it was 20 kilometers in depth. Our next earthquake was a 3.5 in the Puerto Rico region, 49 kilometers in depth, and it's on the other side of the Transform Fault. I think it's odd. The mailman's running today and it's Sunday. Just saw him pass the window. Okay, this is the British Virgin Islands here, and this is Puerto Rico here, so it looks to me kind of in between the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. Our next earthquake was a 2.0 Southern California, and it was 16 kilometers in depth, which seems a little deep to me. This is closer to the San Jacinto Fault. Can also see this is Lake Hemet here, and this is a spillway here. Our next earthquake was a 2.3 in Hawaii. Now remember, I'm going backwards because the ones that are from the top are the last one, and so I'm going downwards, so going back towards the beginning. Okay, this was a 2.3 at 31 kilometers in depth. And this is near the other one that occurred off of Mamaloahoa Highway. Sorry if I'm butchering the name. Okay, so our next one is a 2.7, Sumbawa region, Indonesia. And it was a 2.7, 14 kilometers in depth. This is Sangay Api over here. And Tambaroa volcano is over here. This is like almost in between all of these volcanoes here. The next volcano was a 2.6, Western Australia. This is a nature reserve here. Can't see too much, but this is where this earthquake is occurring. This is interesting. It's almost like lines here, like drawing or something. Our next one was a 3.5, Halmahera, Indonesia, and it was 207 kilometers in depth. Our next one was a 2.5, Antofagasta, Chile. And it was 106 kilometers in depth. That's interesting. Okay, there's a volcano over here in San Pedro, San Pablo. Okay, let me do this. I do this like just for fun. Okay. This is the volcano here. And then you have Teneri is over here. And Serra de Leon is here. Then you have Inacalari here. And Serra let me pull that up. Serra del Azufre is here. And this is the largest and youngest volcano center in the 30-kilometer long northwest trending Azure Inacalari volcanic chain. So this is the largest one here. And I think I just lost my place mark. Hang on. There. Okay, right here. Okay. Moving on to our next one. Is a 3.8 Halmahera, Indonesia, and it was 130 kilometers deep. Our next one is the island of Hawaii, and it was 8 kilometers deep, and it was a 2.4. We can see that's up here near Mauna Loa and Hawaii volcano, and this is Kilauea here. So you have Mauna Loa here, Kilauea here, and a volcano occurring here. Our next earthquake was a 4.5 near north coast of New Guinea. So we can see where this one occurred, and it's right next to the, and it's not popping up for me, hang on, convergent line. Our next one is a 3.5, Java, Indonesia. And that one is offshore, and it was 10 kilometers deep. Our next one is a 3.6, Southern Sumatra, Indonesia, and it was 40 kilometers deep. The next one is a 3.0 in Jujuy, Argentina, and it's 200 kilometers deep. These are some deep ones that I'm seeing over here in South America today. This is interesting. What do we got over here? What is this? Okay, that's interesting. And Carbon Day Life? I don't know. This is interesting. I have no idea, but the red dirt is usually, I think, iron oxide. Okay, moving on to the next one. 2.6 Balusi. And that's off land here as well. That's Tambora here. So we looked at this one a little bit ago, and now we're looking at this one. Now remember, the 2.6 actually occurred before this one did. Now we're looking at a 3.3 off the east coast of North Island of New Zealand. That's the convergent line there. This is happening in the trench area here. And this one was 19 kilometers in depth. Now we have a 4.1 Liberator O'Higgins, Chile. This one was 45 kilometers in depth. It looks like a mountainous region here. Yeah, quite mountainous in this area here. Okay, our next earthquake was a 2.0 Oklahoma. 4 kilometers in depth, that's kind of shallow. And it's the Chickasaw Nation here. I wonder what's going on here. Can see some mining going on here. Looks like open mining, open pit mining, maybe closed mining as well. Got another mine over here. Wow, that's cool. You can see down inside this thing. I don't think that was the only one. There's another one over here too. And one more. So it looks like maybe mining over here is causing these earthquakes. I don't know. This is a reservoir over here. It's Wild Horse Creek Site 72 Reservoir. Okay, the next one is a 2.9 India. It looks like rivers here. Don't see much. Well, there are some villages here. This is a national park here, a Ramona National Park here. Then you have a forest reserve over here. Moving on to our next one, a 3.2 near the south coast of Papua, Indonesia. This is falling on the, I believe it's divergent line. No, it's transform fault. Yep, sometimes I get them wrong. So this one is a depth of 127 kilometers deep. Our next earthquake was a 2.5, Tarapaca, Chile, and it was 116 kilometers deep. These are salt flats over here. Or a desert. Not sure which one it is. I believe it's a desert. Vespani. I believe it's a desert, sorry. And this earthquake is occurring near Saranapa. Trying to get a good look here. See the nice lines in the ground? You can see this area is quite volcanic looking. Hang on a second. Oops. Did I mean to do that? Okay. Get a nice view of this area here. You can see what it looks like. So, what areas I'm thinking are desert. It looks like desert here. Sometimes it's a salt flat, but not always. So this is desert. Okay, move on to our next one. It's a 2.7 Western Turkey, and it's 8 kilometers in depth. It looks like it was near some houses here. Yep, we have a town here. Our next earthquake was at 5.3, the Pacific Antarctic Ridge. And this is on the Transform Fault. This one was 10 kilometers in depth, an unknown depth with an F. The next earthquake was a 2.5, Sumbawa region, Indonesia. And this one was off Tambora. So remember this one, and then this one. So now we have one that was off of Tambora. So it was this one, this one, this one. Okay. Or no, sorry. This one, this one, this one. Somehow. Okay, going backwards. This one, this one, this one. Okay, now I got it. Okay, this one was 155 kilometers in depth. And you can see it was off of Tambora here. Tambora, Lesser Sunda Islands. It's a massive Tambora stratovolcano. Okay, next one was a 3.1, Tasmania, Australia region. My daughter was recently in Australia a month ago. So this is Tasmania here. This is, looks like Marawa is here. So this is offland here. It looks like there's a drop off here. Next earthquake was a 3.2. Island of Hawaii. Yeah, I was going to say this. My daughter went to Australia last month, and she ended up having to stay a week longer than she was planning to because her flight got canceled. So she ended up having to stay a week longer. I'm sure she enjoyed it though. Okay, so this one here is occurring near Kilauea and Mauna Loa, kind of in between here. The next earthquake was a 2.6, island of Hawaii. And it was offshore here. And it was 36 kilometers in depth. The next earthquake was Kappa Luan, Sangki, Indonesia. And it's 3.6, 159 kilometers in depth. And it's near Ruang volcano, also near Kerlong. But it's closer to Ruang. The next earthquake is a 2.7. A 2.7 Puerto Rico, 79 kilometers in depth. And this one was offland as well. San Juan is right here. Louisa is right here. And we move on to our next earthquake, which was a 2.5, Central California. Ooh, this one looks like it's right next to a fault line. Not exactly, it's still on land, kinda. It's at Lucia, near Lucia. Looks like a drop off here. Wonder if it could have caused a landslide. You can see how the land slopes down to the river here. It was 8 kilometers in depth. This one's by the water. Then you can see that this is San Gregorio fault line here. So move on to our next one. We're going to Babuyan Island region, Philippines. We've had a few over here today. This one is offland as well. Then we go back to 3.0, Panama, 14 kilometers in depth. This one is offland as well. We go to our next earthquake, 4.0, offshore Baja California. This is a San Quentin volcanic field over here. You can see the pock marks here for San Quentin. Let's zoom in close and do a tilt. It's actually cool looking. I wonder what it looks like if you fly over it in an airplane. Okay, our next one. 4.1, offshore Baja California. So the same area region. 2.5, offshore O'Higgins, Chile. So this one is striking down there pretty clear, near where the 4.1 hit. But this one is offshore. Next earthquake was a 3.4, Iceland, and it was 1 kilometer in depth. This one looks like it's striking on a volcano. Katla volcano. Hang on a second, I'm going to do a tilt. See if I can get it to clear up any. Sometimes you just have to wait for it to clear up a little bit, but it doesn't seem to want to right now. Next earthquake was a 2.5. Hang on. 2.5, Southern California. And it was 5F kilometers, which means they didn't state exactly how many kilometers deep it was. This is the Salton Sea here. Then you have the San Jacinto here, which is Borrego North. And the gas domed trail is here. Let's see if we can tilt on this. It gives us a good idea of the skyline here. Quite mountainous. Donkey Point is here. Okay, now we'll move on to the next earthquake, which was a 4.5, Southern Sumatra, Indonesia. This one is striking upland. And these look like underwater seamounts here. The next earthquake was a 3.0, Dodecanese Islands, Greece. It looks like we've had quite a few earthquakes out here today. This one was 2 kilometers in depth. Sorry, I can't pronounce that. It is in Greek language, but I think the first part says Carpathios. The rest of it is in Greece. Greek. Yeah. Oh wait, the first part is in English, the second part is in Greek. Okay, I get that. Alrighty, see, I can figure it out. Okay, moving on to the next earthquake. We have a 3.7, 13 kilometers in depth, and 3.7 is in Mindanao, Philippines, and it is off land. Next earthquake is a 3.9, Luzon, Philippines. Can tell this is near volcanoes again. Camaguan de Bubianis. And this is Fuga Island here. The next earthquake was a 3.1, Seram Sea, Indonesia. And it was 10 kilometers in depth. This is Seram Sea. The next earthquake is a 3.2, Western Australia, 5 kilometers deep. Western Australia seems to be busy with earthquakes lately. Wonder what's going on over here. See, that's the second one. The first one was here. The second one is here. I wonder what's going on. This is a nature reserve here as well. Okay, move on to the next one. Oops, don't move on to that one. 3.0, Coquimbo, Chile. 47 kilometers deep. And if somebody says Chile, I'm saying I'm hungry right now. Okay. This one is on land, but to me it looks like there may be a mine over here. Or something. That's weird. That's weird. Okay, what is that? Let's do a tilt on this and take a look. Oops. I didn't just do that again, did I? No, I didn't. Okay. I think it's a desert. Yep, it looks like a desert. So that's a desert. Or sand dunes. I don't know. Maybe desert or sand dunes. Okay, moving on to the next one. 4.2 near Costa Nicaragua. And you note we have a whole bunch of volcanoes over here. But this one is offland, so not much to worry about. We have another 3.2 in Dodecanese Islands, Greece. So this is back in our Greek area where these earthquakes were occurring. Our next earthquake is a 2.8 in Montenegro. And this is opposite of Italy. Not used to seeing earthquakes here in Montenegro. Makes me wonder why there's earthquakes in Montenegro right now. Let's do a tilt. Well, the area is mountainous. don't have all my old volcanoes listed, so there could be one in this area. I don't know. Okay, moving on to our next one. A 4.7 near east coast of Kamchatka, and it was 10 kilometers in depth. And there's an unnamed volcano here. I'm not sure about it. It's a pyroclastic cones. But you can see underwater seamounts here and underwater volcanoes here. The next volcano is a 3.1 Mexican, Mexico, and it was 5 kilometers in depth. And that one was like right on the shoreline here. Always look. I'd like to try to figure out what's in the area, but you can tell that's really close to the water here. Okay, the next earthquake was at 1.7 Canary Islands, Spain region. I know that was not very big, but we're still going to look at it because it's at Tenerife Volcano. And this is the Canary Islands, Spain. So let's get down in here, and we're gonna do a tilt. Oh, I did that again, right? Okay. Here we go. Okay. That's Tenerife volcano. This is Tenerife here. I think we should see if we can land on this volcano or not. Hang on. I'm all game for that one. Let's see, are there any views here? There is. Okay, let's go here. Whoa, all rocky. But look at this, all the way up in the clouds here. I love that. And this is the volcano here. Okay. Pico del Teide, Tenerife. Isn't that cool? That's cool. Okay. The next earthquake was a 3.2 offshore Baja California. And it was a 3.2, 12 kilometers in depth. And it's over here in our little swarm area. The next earthquake is a 2.6 Malchili, and it was 62 kilometers in depth. And this one is also near the ocean area. Nope, it's not really, but it's right here. And this is a hilly area too. Moving on to our next one. It's a 3.3 Oaxaca, Mexico. And this one was 10 kilometers in depth, and it looks to be offshore, but not very far. Hotel Casa Del Mar is right there. When I was younger, I went and stayed in Baja California, and that name rings a bell, so I don't know if that's where we went and stayed at. Hotel Casa Del Mar. But we stayed like right on the ocean. Very, very beautiful. Moving on to the next one. 2.5 in Malchili. This one was 105 kilometers in depth, so it's near the other green one. Syria seems to have a lot of roads there, but can't really tell if it's mining or what it is. Roads, yep, roads. There's camping over there. I saw a camping thing. Camp, camping, Borde Rio Garo. Okay, next one is a 5.1 Kermadec Islands region. It was 2 kilometers in depth. Ooh, that's hitting right next to the Havre Seamount. Okay, Havre Seamount is right here. I think there's another seamount here, but I can't really tell. But I think there is. You can see that there's other seamounts here. But the Havre Seamount is a caldera capping a 1 kilometer high edifice located on the Kermadec Ridge. It is believed to have erupted in July 2012, the first recorded activity. The caldera has a symmetric wall and a south rim comprising both an outer topographic rim and an inner wall separated by a 1.1 to 1.4 kilometer wide terrace. And that was a 5.1. The next earthquake was a 3.7 offshore Baja California, Mexico. That's our little swarm area here next to the volcanic field. Next earthquake was a 3.7 offshore Chiapas, Mexico. And it was a 39 kilometers in depth. Yep, transform fault. Next earthquake was a 2.1, island of Hawaii, Hawaii, and it was 32 kilometers in depth. This one was hitting offshore. Next earthquake was a 4.0 off the coast of Jalisco, Mexico. Northern EPR. Now, this here, I believe is the Cocos Plate. Hang on a second. Yeah, this is Cocos Plate. So this is hitting within the Cocos Plate over here. And that's a 4.0. Next earthquake was a 2.2 in western Montana. Montana, Montana. And we have Yellowstone over here. So that's Montana. Helena, Lewis, and Clark National Forest is where it hit at. And then you've got Butte here, Butte, Montana here, and Missoula is here. We move on to our next earthquake. It was a 3.6 offshore Baja California, Mexico, within our swarm region. And that's a volcanic field here. I wonder if something volcanic is going on within that area. We move now to a 3.5 Oaxaca, Mexico. And this one was 44 kilometers in depth. Piedra de Moros is that area here. I believe this says National Forest here, but I can't tell. And this looks like an airport. Maybe? Yeah, maybe. I think that's an airport. I think. Yeah. Okay, back to our next earthquake. We have a 3.8 and a 4.0 and a 2.8. I mean, a 3.8 and a 4.0. Oaxaca, Mexico. Our same swarm area. So they're both within that same swarm area. We have a 2.8 offshore Tarapaca, Chile. And it's a 2.8 at 44 kilometers in depth, which is within, looks to be our same area as the other quake hit. Next earthquake is the 3.8 offshore Baja California, Mexico, and within our same swarm region. The next earthquake was a 4.2 Kapalan Barat Daya, Indonesia. Mayapura Island, so this one was out here, and you can see there's a seamount right here. The next earthquake was a 2.5 Manhasa, Sulawesi, Indonesia, and it was 141 kilometers in depth. We have Kolo volcano out here. Nothing too significant to report other than looks like we have a seamount close to where this earthquake hit. The next one is a 4.7 southeast of Easter Island. It was on 10 F kilometers, which means they don't have a direct depth on this earthquake. And this is hitting near a transform fault. Let's see, where's southeast? Easter Island. Rapa Nui is here. Salas is here. Next earthquake is a 2.3 in the Aegean Sea, and it was 15 kilometers in depth. I think we just looked at this area before. An itty bitty little island out here in the middle of nowhere. Next one is a 2.7 northern Alaska, coming in at 10 kilometers in depth. Cha-ching is near Merak Lake, which is a volcano, and Merak Lake is a shield volcano. Let's see. I don't see anything. Moving on to the next one. Is a 3.1 offshore Mojocan, Mexico. Now this is near where the other one hit on land. This is one offshore. Our next earthquake is a 3.9 offshore Chiapas, Mexico, and it's 18 kilometers in depth. Now this one is on the other side of the line this time, I believe, because that one was here, so this one is here. Very interesting. Then we have a 5.0 near the coast of Nicaragua, and it was 60 kilometers in depth. So we can see where this one was, this little yellow dot right here. The next earthquake was a 2.5 Greece. We can see that this is back over in the same little area where I was looking at a little bit ago. We're moving on to the next one. This one was 17 kilometers in depth. The next one is a 2.1 Oklahoma. Sorry if I forget the depths. This one is in Oklahoma. Looks like farming area. I gotta see something. Okay, moving on to our next one. It's a 2.9 Jujuy, Argentina, and it's 263 kilometers in depth, which is pretty deep. Okay. We can see it's back over here near this area I looked at before. Because we had this quake right here that I looked at the last time. So we have one right here this time. Next earthquake is a 2.5 Crete, Greece. And this one is in the middle of those other ones that are here. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4. So this one here is 2 kilometers in depth. Moving on to the next one. This is a 2.5 Antofagasta, Chile, and it's 99 kilometers in depth. This is Calama here. And looks to be a hilly area. We'll move on to the next one, which was a 2.1 Central California. Ooh, we have some fault lines here. Let's see what these faults are. Okay, so this fault is White Wolf Fault. This fault here is Lake Isabella Fault. And this fault here is Kern Canyon Fault. This is Moreland Hill Mill here. Not seeing much more than that. We have Golden Trout Creek up here, which is a volcano. This is Lava Mountain's volcanic field here. And Kosa volcanic field is here. We'll move on to the next one, which was a 3.5 in southern Italy. And it's not in southern Italy, it's in the ocean. We can see that looks like an underwater seamount. You know, there's a lot of things that they don't tell you because they don't want to scare people. But there's a lot of underwater seamounts and volcanoes. And I wonder how much activity actually happens at them that they don't tell people about. Just my thoughts. Then again, if they were to tell you, it might scare you. Anyway, the next one is a 3.3 south of Java, Indonesia. And this one was 10 kilometers in depth. You can see all the volcanoes on land here. Then, of course, we have underwater seamounts here as well. The next earthquake was a 4.7 Kermadec Island region. This is also near the Havre Seamount. I'm wondering what's going on here because there's 1, which was a 5.1, 2 was a 5.1, and this one was a 4.7. So there's something going on between these two seamounts here. Next earthquake is a 3.0, Minahasa, Sulawesi, Indonesia. It was 10 kilometers in depth. And this is the transform fault here. Tendaki is here. You can see this area here is hilly. Next earthquake is a 2.1, Puerto Rico. We have that little swarm going on over here. You can see quite a few down here. Well, it might be harder to see on the when you're looking at it from the video, but you have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we'll move on to the next one, which is 3.0, Minahasa, Sulawesi, Indonesia. So we have another one over here. That's northern Sulawesi. And this is a national park over here. And this is Ambang volcano over here. We'll move up to the next one. 2.6 Crete, Greece. This one is 14 kilometers in depth. And that's another one in our mix of earthquakes here. Move to the next one, was a 4.2 offshore Guerrero, Mexico. You can see this one is offshore here. Pueblo Novo is here. Move to the next one, 3.2, the Virgin Islands region, 5 kilometers in depth. Remember, I was looking at this one here. Or no, was I looking at that one? Yeah, I was. I was looking at Puerto Rico, and they had one here, and I said it was halfway between. So here's another one, and it's off the islands. It's not exactly on the islands, but it's sitting on the transform fault. This is the Virgin Islands down here. Virgin Islands are beautiful. So is the Bahamas. Okay, at 5.4, Kuril Islands, 60 kilometers in depth. This is Nemo Peak, another volcano. Next earthquake is at 3.1, Kenai Peninsula, Alaska. This one was 65 kilometers in depth. Happy Valley. I like that name. Happy Valley. Make me happy. King Halibut Lodge is there. And then you have over here Iliamna volcano, and it is a stratovolcano. But you have activity out here in the water at a 3.165 kilometers in depth. Next earthquake is a 5.1 Kermadec Islands region. It's going to be in the same area that we looked at before. We have a 4.9 Mindanao, Philippines, 45 kilometers deep. This one is striking off land. We have a 2.4 island of Hawaii. Then we have a 2.1, 14 kilometers in depth. Then we go back for a 4.1 off the coast of Costa Rica. Then we have a 2.0 island of Hawaii. Same little swarm area. We have 2.6 western Texas. This one is 7 kilometers in depth, and it is in a volcanic field. This is Petrillo volcanic field, and you can see the volcanoes. These are buttes out here. This is Petrillo. Next is a 4.2 Salta, Argentina. This one is hitting down here. We have a volcanic field down here as well. You can see the buttes down in here. There's one. Lots of different volcanoes in this region. The next earthquake is a 2.6 western Turkey. This one is hitting in the little swarm area. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4 there. Then we have a 2.5 offshore northern California. This one was 19 kilometers in depth. We can see this is the transform fault, and it hit exactly on the Cascadia subduction zone. You can see where it's at right there. Next earthquake was a 4.7 western Turkey. And this one was 2 kilometers deep, and that was in our swarm location. Then we have a 2.5 Mal Chile. This one was 51 kilometers deep. This one's out here by itself, and I don't see any big reason for it to have happened other than it's a mountainous region. The next earthquake is in eastern Xinjiang, India region border. quite hilly here. That's how hilly it is. It's hilly. So you can see the region splits right here. Next earthquake is a 2.9 creek grease, 5 kilometers in depth. In our little swarm location here. The next earthquake is a 2.5 western Turkey, 12 kilometers in depth in our little swarm location. Next earthquake was a 2.8 Romania, and it was 133 kilometers in depth. And it looks like there's volcanoes up in here too. Hang on. I don't know if there's any behind here. Yep, there is. Okay. So you can see this is the South Harghita Mountains. Harghita? Harghita. I believe that's what it's called. Harghita. So, this is where our earthquake is. So there are volcanoes in this area. Doesn't mean that this is volcanic by any nature. But we're going to do it quick so I can look at the ground. Okay, that's what it looks like there. It's hilly. Okay, moving on to the next one. We have a 1.8 Canary Islands, Spain. We can see this is offshore, and this was where the other earthquakes happened in Tenerife, at the Tenerife volcano. And this one is occurring between Gran Canaria and Tenerife. This one is out here in the ocean. It was 10 kilometers deep. Next earthquake is a 3.7 southwest of Sumatra, Indonesia, and it was 81 kilometers in depth. This one is upland, as you can tell. Next one is a 3.3 Bandasi. You can see that's happening near Manuk, and that's a volcano as well. This one was 102 kilometers in depth. The next earthquake was a 2.0, 1 kilometer deep in Croatia. Wait a minute, that's interesting looking. So, okay, I did my grand tilt. Nowhere is just really flat. This is not a flat area. Okay. Next place is a 3.1. Nicaragua, 27 kilometers deep. There's a volcano over here, which is Madeiras. Then you have Concepcion. And this is a volcanic chain here. The next earthquake was a 5.6 Easter Island region. It was 10 kilometers deep. We have Rapa Nui down here. Next earthquake was a 3.1, Luzon, Philippines. And it was 2 kilometers deep. was a 4.1 offshore Oaxaca, Mexico, 16 kilometers deep, and that's in our little swarm location here. Next earthquake was a 2.8, 34 kilometers depth, island of Hawaii, Hawaii, and this is in our swarm location, and let me show you the swarm. So we can see all of these earthquakes are occurring here. We have one up here, but most all of them are occurring down in this area. Our next earthquake is a 2.5, Lombok region, Indonesia, 93 kilometers deep. And there's also volcanoes on this island too. You can see Rinjani is here and Punakan is here. The next earthquake was a 4.6, Java, Indonesia, 71 kilometers in depth, off land here. And we can see what looks like a line of underwater seamounts here. Maybe, or it could be rock sides, who knows. But to me it looks like underwater seamounts. The next earthquake was a 5.0, Vanuatu, 30 kilometers in depth. That one appears like it occurred right on the shoreline. Hopefully nobody felt that one. But it does look like there is a road that goes down here past this. Then you have Vayo over here. And you can tell there are houses here, so hopefully nobody had any damage. Next earthquake was a 3.0, Maluku Sea, 10 kilometers in depth. And you can see the volcano island chain here. Next earthquake was a 5.0, Tonga, 80 kilometers in depth. And it's near the unnamed seamounts. These are all unnamed. I believe there's one more. Yep, there's a few more unnamed. So these are all unnamed seamounts here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this one is right near the one in the middle. Or pretty much the middle. Because there's 6. If you say 6, so it's the third one, and then there's 3 more. Anyway, next earthquake is a 3.0, Greece, 1 kilometer in depth. Yeah. And that's in our little swarm location here. Next earthquake is a 2.7, Puerto Rico, 11 kilometers in depth. And that's in our little swarm location here as well. The next earthquake was 4.2, Veracruz, Mexico, 129 kilometers in depth. El Chicon is over here. That's a volcano. And not seeing anything else in this area. This is a hilly area. If you've ever been down to Mexico, you know they have a lot of hills. Next earthquake is a 2.2, Puerto Rico, 14 kilometers in depth, and in our little swarm location here, you can see all the little earthquakes down in here. And we had one over here. Next earthquake was a 2.9, Tarapaca, Chile, and it was 108 kilometers in depth. And we're going to pop this for a minute. We can see the ridge line of mountains here, and then you have volcanoes over in this area. So that's what that looks like here. Moving on to the next one. 4.0, Dominican Republic region, 105 kilometers in depth. And that is right on the transform line. Can't get it to even pop up. Okay. Yep, there you go. Transform. So we had one over here and one over here. Okay. Our next one was a 2.4. Sicily, Italy. And it was 3 kilometers in depth. This one is not in Italy, but this is in the ocean here, off of Italy. Part of the boot here. And we do have volcanoes out here as well. So you can see all the volcanoes out here. This one is closest to Ustica. And Ustica is a stratovolcano. Our next earthquake is a 2.1, Puerto Rico region. 10 kilometers in depth. I always like the 10 kilometers in depth because to me it means that, I don't know, every time it says 10, I keep thinking all of these earthquakes are 10 kilometers in depth. None of them are any deeper. They don't have any other numbers. Anyway, I always wonder. This one is in our swarm location as well. The next earthquake is a 2.8, Antofagasta, Chile, 128 kilometers in depth. And you can see that this one is hitting at, or near, this is a volcanic field. Yep, this is a volcanic field. All of these are volcanoes. Hang on. This is a volcanic field. So if you look, this is the closest one that it was striking next to. And Acunquachila, I think. Canquilcha. I'm not pronouncing that. Anyway, it's the world's highest permanent human habitation is situated below a sulfur mine in the summit region of Cerro, whatever, I can't pronounce the name, one of the largest volcanoes in the northern Chile. Anyway, it's a stratovolcano, but it's the largest volcano there is. Okay, so you can see this is a volcanic field here, and this is Cerro del Azufre here. Now I gotta go back and find my earthquake. My earthquakey. Uh-oh, where did it go? Okay, I found it. Okay. Our next earthquake is a 2.8 off the coast of Biobío, Chile, and it was 25 kilometers deep. And this is the convergent fault, convergent line. Okay. Next earthquake is a 4.1, Nias region, Indonesia, and it is 39 kilometers deep. This one was off land as well. And that's Toba again. The next earthquake was a 2.6, Puerto Rico, 15 kilometers deep. And this is near our swarm area, but this is the one that I was showing you that's up in the corner here. The next earthquake was a 2.9, Mal, Chile, 94 kilometers in depth. And this is a national park area, and I think I showed you all the one that was behind it, which was up here. The next one was a 3.5, Java, Indonesia, 10 kilometers in depth. And this one is striking near some volcanoes. You can see all of these around it. So you have Kencana, Gadi, Sejak, Perbaki, and Halaman Talaga. And this is the earthquake right here. The next earthquake was a 1.5 in the Pyrenees, 12 kilometers in depth. Well, to see one in the Pyrenees. But they posted a 1.5. Not used to seeing 1.5. Hang on. Okay, there you go. What's that? Maybe a house. So that's the Pyrenees. You can tell it's mountainous. Okay, moving on to our next one. It was a 2.2 in the Adriatic Sea. 10 F kilometers, which means that they didn't give a correct depth. Because they don't know. Okay. And this is Italy here. Moving on to the next one. It was a 2.1, island of Hawaii. Whee! Back in our swarm location. This one was hitting closest to Kilauea. You can see it was right here. And Kilauea is right here. The last but not least earthquake, which was the first one for 11/27/2022, was a 4.1 in Coquimbo, Chile, and it was at 80 kilometers in depth. And this is the last earthquake that started first this morning. And this is as of 3:48 this afternoon, so there will be other earthquakes past this time. I just was doing a video for fun and to look at all the earthquakes that have happened today and to look them up. And I hope that you enjoyed spending your time with me and that I wasn't too boring. And also, I enjoy comments. I wanted to let y'all know I do screen my comments, but you are welcome to leave comments and I will post them on underneath my video. I am not deleting anybody's comments. Now, if you leave me a nasty comment, it probably won't go through. But if you leave me polite comments or comments asking questions or comments about research or comments about anything else, I will post them and answer them. And I usually do that with them one day. Anyways, you guys, I hope y'all are doing well. I hope y'all are having a great weekend. I hope that you're enjoying your time with your family and friends. Anyways, you guys, take care and hope y'all have the best week. Much love.